Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Old Reader, New Reader. I know it's not Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I realized that I had not sent the materials I needed to my guests for Wicked and Divine, as was the plan. So we moved it to Thursday, and I was like, Lee, oh my God, what do you have that we can read? And he said, Dark Knight's Death Metal. And I was like, sweet, I haven't read it. Let's do it. So I'm the new reader. I've done it, you guys. It's been a while. But I'm back. I'm the new reader this time. And my wonderful co-host of the night, Lee, is our old reader with this recommendation. This follows God, I'm forgetting words. It followed just Death. What's it called? What's the first part called? Dark Knight's Metal?
All right, so the first part is Dark Knight's Metal.
Okay.
Which involves any number of tie-ins and stuff like that. If you look at the stuff that's included in the omnibus, it's outrageous, right? This is Dark Knight's Death Metal, the sequel. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Which also has its own soundtrack. Did you buy the vinyl for that? Because I wish I had.
No, surprisingly, I know looking at me, you'd be like, what the fuck? I don't own a record player.
Really?
Nicole says I should become a vinyl guy.
I'm a vinyl guy, but I don't have anything like that.
No.
Like, I have the Silent Hill 1 vinyl soundtrack because I'm really cool. And then Harry Styles. So I'm a woman of many tastes. But I dug the soundtrack a lot. I love when DC does soundtracks for books. Love that. So yeah, Dark Knight's Death Metal, the sequel to Dark Knight's Metal, which is the craziest DC event. Even reading this, I was like,
yeah.
It's so deserving of the metal in the title. You know, where it just feels outrageous and fun. And I say stupid, but not, no, wait, this is stupid. I'm meaning like just things that happen. You're like, okay, yeah, okay. Sure, let's do it. Whatever. It's fun. Long-haired Superman is back. It's just such a fun, ridiculous crisis. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I was so glad that you're here and you've reread it, right?
Yeah.
Man. So I was like, I'm glad you're here because so much is happening. I was like, this is going to be really fun and difficult to talk about. So, Lee, your second reread of this.
Yes.
How do you feel about this? What's your feeling of Dark Knight's Death Metal?
So I like it more the second time I read it than I liked it the first time. The first time I read it, I had not read Metal. I actually bought it to get it signed by Scott Snyder at a con. Right, I got two things signed by him. I got the Batman Who Laughs signed by him, and in that one, actually, he drew me a little doodle of the Batman Who Laughs teeth smiling.
Love that.
And then I got the cover, the little
beautiful.
Metallic cover of this to get signed. So I like it more than the first time I read it.
Oh, and you have your Batman Who Laughs figure behind you too.
I've got two of them. I've got one of the ones that's from like McFarlane where it has like attachable wings and shit.
I've
got the other one from Sideshow that's really sexy.
That's a pretty sexy one.
Yeah.
Everyone was very sexy in this book. Ooh.
Yeah. Strongly recommend this one.
Strongly
I love a
recommend
putting it at a place where he's looking down at you. Right?
Oh my God. Everyone's sexy in this book, honestly. Everyone's redesigns, I love them.
Oh yeah.
Wonder Woman with the blue tints in her hair.
Come on.
It
does not get. Wait, if anyone from Sideshow Collectibles is watching, I will give you $1 million for a 6-scale figure of this.
Oh my God! Yeah, absolutely, no question.
Yeah, there are alternate covers of all of the heroes playing.
Oh, 1 second. Here we go. We got you back. Every time you move a little bit, your microphone's weird, but you're good now.
Oh no! All right,
it's okay.
So there are really good variant covers with all of the different
That's so good. The Batman who laughs like the Batman who did the
Did the
most.
most.
Hi, Maddie. Hi, Lee. Hi, Hunter.
But yeah, so the art in this is just terrific, and there's a reason that the art is outlandish, but not a self-parody, right? So,
Oh man, your mic's doing stuff again. I'm sorry.
hang
I
on.
don't mean to get on you like that. Well, he's doing that. Oh, you're muted. The joys of life. Okay, here we go. We're going. We're going together. So I'll let everybody know while we're waiting for Lee that so I read, in addition to Dark Knight's Death Metal issues 1 through 7, I also read the tie-ins. So I read this on DC Universe Infinite, and I am a champion of that app. I really like it. I think it's way easier to use than Marvel Unlimited, and I will die on this hill. But I read all the tie-ins. So like Death Metal Guidebook, Death Metal Trinity Crisis, Speed Metal, Multiverse's End, Legend of the Dark Knights, Death Metal Robin King, Rise of the New God, Last Stories DC Universe. My girl Donna, she is in there. She is doing the best, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So just want to give a little background to what I've read, and Lee has read that as well. But in his edition, of Dark Knight's Death Metal, it only includes what, the issues 1 through 7, right?
Yeah, I think it's only got Death Metal 1 through 7. Is my audio back?
Yeah, sound good. If you ever need a mic, I've got a really cute pink one you can use.
Ooh.
It's a Razer Siren X. I don't know.
Damn.
It's cute. But now we in the big leagues with the Blue Yeti. We're fancy.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I've got a toner, which is supposed to be good, but my headphones are all screwed up. So,
you know, that's rough. The main problem is I have a DC Universe 6-month wait. Yeah, which I understand. But for me, I realized I was buying these floppies monthly, and I still am. And I don't read them right away. I have all of Blue and like the new Blue and Gold. I have not read it. I just have it.
yeah.
And all the High Republic stuff, Star Wars, I've just been picking it up. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah, see, this is my thing as well, is like, I was getting floppies of like Saga and everything, and then realized that like, I don't actually even enjoy reading floppies as they come out because it gets this urgency to it that I have to get the newest thing and I have to read it, and then I'm done with it in 20 minutes. And I couldn't even really tell you what happened in an issue, right? Whereas opposed to, if I get it in an Omni, I can sit and really digest it and get like a story pacing. And the weekly stuff just doesn't work for me in a lot of the longer form stories. I mean, if in an episodic thing like Justice League International, sure, it doesn't matter if you read it weekly, right? But for something for something this intricate, I could not imagine having read these coming out every week, because the lore is so outrageously complicated and deep, and everything is connected to something that happened in a tie-in issue 2 years ago, right? That is,
100%.
I can't imagine trying to read it.
As an ADHD person, there's no way. I can read webtoons week to week. I could have never done this.
Yeah.
There's no way. I'm glad I had it all in one go, because also it helped to continue to build on things, because there was a lot for me to catch up on. You know, I haven't read Dark Knight's Metal, but I was telling Lee before the show, because I was waiting for the omnibus, that I listened to Comic Story and talk through those, which, you know, I'm sure people try to be like, oh, you didn't read. It doesn't matter. Enjoy Comic Story, you're going to enjoy them. It doesn't mean I'm not going to read it. But it helped me keep up with things if I wasn't like financially there to purchase them, right? So at least I know what's happening in the lore.
Yeah.
I did skip ahead and read Infinite Frontier, but my boy was in it.
Yeah.
So I had to. And my boy's in here. So in case you're wondering, Roy Harper's my boy. He was here. Did he look gross and dead? Yeah, I don't care. I love him regardless. But yeah, so Dark Death Metal, for people at home who haven't read this. Big event, affected everything, real crazy. Another big DC after they say like, oh, we're not going to reset the multiverse of the universe. And then they do anyways, because they break it every time. And then they're like, okay, well, actually, it's all tied in, guys. Don't worry. This was on purpose. So we're going to kill all the multiverses and then we're going to fix it. At the end, it's going to be Infinite Frontier. And this is really cool because they thought at the end of like Dark Ages of Metal that Wonder Woman may have fixed this, but actually in doing so, she created a larger problem. And the Batman Who Laughs is still there. All of the Batman, the Dark Multiverse Batman, are still here, and I mean all of them. And exactly the monster truck one, and the one that's the city building.
We're not even mentioning B-Rex, right?
B-Rex.
Can you throw batarangs with those arms?
Man, Wonder Woman really ate it up. Okay,
yeah.
First of all, I love a series that gives Wonder Woman her due. She's deserved this for a crisis for a long time.
Yeah.
But I loved all the ridiculous Batman. I love all these ridiculous iterations of everything. And I love that they gave them their time and explanation. I love the baby Batman. Thought that was hilarious. The Rainbow Batman. I love this shit. I love this.
Low key, my favorite one is like for half a second in one panel, there is in the background a penguin Batman. So Oswald Cobblepot is a Batman, and they're like, I think this is the end. I don't think we can beat all these evil Robins. And he's like, I've got a sharp rock. And it's like the little penguin.
I love it. You see all these. I love that the Bat family is here, and you think about like how intense these other Batman are, these Dark Multiverse Batman, and then you have like regular people. Yeah, I know they're powerful, but they're still regular people. I was like, oh, this is great. But it was such a wild ride. I loved starting this and seeing that the Earth is a desolate wasteland. It's been built in the image of the Batman Who Laughs. It literally, the whole world's continent, all the landmass just looks like the bat symbol, which is great. Everything's dead. Swamp Thing's barely hanging on.
Oh, yeah.
Batman is gone. Dead. Sorry, this is going to be spoilers, by the way. So I will guarantee you, though, no matter how much we talk about this book, I cannot spoil it for you in entirety.
You're not going to understand what we're talking about. One and two, none of it matters because everything matters, right?
Yeah. Wonder Woman is basically, unfortunately, because her sisters have been captured, she's a warden for this like new apocalypse dungeon sort of deal. And Superman is just being zapped of everything. And it's now super cool looking with his long hair. Everyone is just metal to the max.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
So before my mic completely fuzzed on me, one thing I was going to say is the reason the art in this and the character designs and everything rules so hard and are so over the top heavy metal without being a parody of heavy metal is because Greg Capullo was a cover artist for a bunch of metal bands, including Korn.
Oh, really?
Right,
I didn't know that.
That's why every splash page looks like a Judas Priest or a Dio cover.
Yeah.
Right. Is because he one has that experience, two has that artistic sensibility, and three is drawing stuff that he thinks will look cool. And to a point you just made, I have it written in my notes. There is no attempt to take the nuances of the story or the lore serious on the part of the writers or the artists. There's no attempt for them to be like, the nuances of why Batman has a Black Lantern ring are extremely important. They don't care. The plot exists for cool stuff to look cool on the page, right? For instance, when you first meet Jarro, is one of my favorite parts of the book. When you first meet Jarro, Jarro hugs Batman and calls him Dad. There's a little asterisk down in the corner that's like, if you want to know why Jarro is hugging Batman and calling him Dad, you should make up a reason in your head. That's what the asterisk says on the page.
Yeah, because it says you could read this or you could make up a reason.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love that. Also, by the way, Jarro is Starro's, well, not really Starro's baby, but it's a little Starro.
He's a little star. He calls Batman Dad. He's a good little lad.
He's so good.
Yes.
So good. But yeah, I love that. And I love what you said, like, they don't care about taking it too seriously. But they still do it well. And that's hard to do. That's really hard to do. And I think that's the genius of this. Yes, there's a lot happening. And it can be overwhelming, but the art is beautiful. The action is so ridiculous. And I'm having the best time. And it is hard to do that well and fun because DC has all sorts of
Jesus Christ.
Ain't no minds, everything in the background.
Run, husband.
Because there's a lot of comic books that do camp and crazy metal, a lot of Dynamite books, but it can feel too much like that and not really fun, right?
Sure.
But this was still compelling, and I was still interested in the story moving forward, and the stakes were still high. So even though all these silly things are happening, I'm still worried about what's going to happen. And I'm still having fun with it. And I'm still surprised by how things come out. And they, like a normal crisis event, the best part, they bring everybody into this.
Yeah.
Just mean that you're not going to see anybody. You're going to see everybody. You're going to see the JLA. They're going to look a little bad. You're going to have Jonah Hex. You're going to have all these people. And it's such a wild ride. And they're like, hey, let's reimagine any Batman ever. Just for fun. Love
Animal
that.
Man Batman, Plastic Man Batman, Doomsday Batman, Cthulhu Batman, Batman who's a T-Rex.
Black Monday. I love Solomon Grundy. I'm a big Solomon Grundy fan. And there's a joke later with Green Arrow. He's talking to Dinah about everything. And they're laughing and also feel bad about laughing because everyone's universes are dead. They're like, man, there was a Solomon Grundy, but he's born on a Tuesday.
The rhyme doesn't work anymore.
I laughed so hard. That my kind of humor is all over this.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. Oh man, that Robin. Sorry, continue. There's so many things to talk about.
Well, to the point about humor, the bit where the Swamp Thing tests the Beast, which is the version of Batman that is a monster truck. So Batman is the Batmobile. Swamp Thing tests it in a riddle challenge by asking it dad jokes, right?
Well, what was because he asked him why the elbow is called the funny bone on the way there, which I loved because it's humorous. And so you're like, oh, so the green tells jokes. And he's like, no, there's no way. But I love that Batman's a monster truck. I'm going to cry about this because it's so funny. Just because he made all these machines to monitor Gotham and he put a little bit of himself in all of them so he could see through them. And then ultimately he just got stuck in a monster truck. And I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. It's
so
brilliant. Good. It's brilliant in the way that they spend the first 90% of the event not giving a damn about lore, sequence of events, explaining what's happening. And then like the last two issues, there's this really touching overarching monologue while you're looking at like the most ridiculous like sequence of events, like for instance, a penguin dressed as Batman, right? You're looking at the most like comical sequence of events, and there's this really touching overarching monologue going through the panels that's talking about like the reason all of this matters is because none of it matters, and it's all going to constantly change, and it's all going to constantly be retconned, and there's going to be constant business politics that interfere with the story, but all this stuff ends up mattering because the audience who loves the heroes cares enough about the heroes to keep reading, right? That's the point of the book is really meta, and they make that point explicit toward the last like issue. It's really, really good.
So good.
You'll be laughing at like how outrageous and over the top stuff is, and then all of a sudden you'll be finding yourself getting like a little bit misty over them like talking to you and making a really, really good point about how much comics mean to you, the reader. And only a writer who really loves the comics they're writing can elicit that sort of response from you as a reader, right?
100%. I love that. I love like all the commentary on it, and I loved, with the ending, which once again it just felt it was so great to see Wonder Woman be at the head of that.
Yeah.
Especially because they made a point of it to say like, oh, in the other crises, you failed.
Yeah.
Because you are justice, but in bringing justice, you are no longer justice. Because we've had instances in situations before where she takes it into her own hands, but not in a way that reflects what it does to everybody else.
Sure.
And it's usually, Superman or whoever who ends up being the final triumphant part of this. But she gets to be the one at the end who fights.
Yeah.
The Batman Who Laughs, who I think is then called something else, but whatever.
The One Who Laughs.
And there's this moment where she's talking to the multiverse. like the
Yeah.
omniscient like verse.
She's
Omniverse,
talking
I
to the
guess.
DC executives who are
Yeah,
made manifest
exactly.
as gods.
And they're like, you know, you guys in this multiverse, you keep fighting for us, even though we do nothing for you. We destroy you, and we mess things up, and things keep messing up, but you keep fighting for it, even though there's so many f ups here. Like I can say fuck ups. It's 8:51. It's fine. It is nighttime.
Since we started.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And I love this back and forth because she sees her original self too, which I thought was really, I don't know, it's touching. It's nice.
It's so good when they bring in the Golden Age heroes.
Yeah, and she sees herself, and they're like, just this back and forth of just, you know, you think it's not going to go well at first because the way they're talking is basically like, you guys keep messing up. Out of all the universes, you keep getting destroyed and coming back. That's not good.
Yeah.
But then they say like, but you fought for it, even despite us fighting for you. And eventually she's like, you know, you're going to ascend and all this. And I don't know. It just, I love the way she came to it, where she's trying to figure out what to do, and she's using her lasso. I was just really happy as a Wonder Woman fan. Obviously.
Yeah. It's like low key surprise. This is actually a Wonder Woman book.
Yeah.
Right. And I've got to say the chainsaw of truth is the coolest fucking idea.
So cool.
So for those of you who haven't read it, the Batman Who Laughs forces Wonder Woman to melt down the invisible jet, and she uses the smelted material from the jet to make a chainsaw powered by the lasso of truth, which she uses to Texas Chainsaw Massacre the Batman Who Laughs. Right?
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good. And I love all the sweet moments between her and Bruce and Clark.
Yeah.
Because Bruce is dead, and Superman knows this, but he's like, Bruce tells me, I don't want Wonder Woman to know yet.
Yeah.
And he's even using like the Black Lantern this whole time to like raise people and kind of bring the army together, which is very sweet. I appreciate it. Again, my boy Roy's there. I'm very happy about that. And I love like the camaraderie. I love when you give other people Green Lantern rings. I eat that shit up. I love that shit. And I love their closeness. I love when they hug at the end, like, no, you've got to do this. Because Superman's already like low on energy. Batman's dead. He's got limitations. Yeah, exactly. The Trinity moments in this story are so good. Because the time of crisis are working together. And not only that, but we have such great family moments for all of them. And a lot of times,
family. Yeah.
In big events like this, big crisis events, we lose those family moments and just focus on the big things. But I felt like for everybody, I got that time. I got Green Lantern family moments. I got really good Bat family moments. I thought it was weird that Nightwing and Batgirl got whatever, married, whatever. It's fine. But and we got Donna Wonder Woman moments. I cannot tell you how much we never get Themysciran moments in these big events. They never happen. And for Donna, my other number one girl, to have all this meant so much to me as a reader to see, okay, all this crazy stuff is going on, but we're getting that time. We got the Flash family moments. We got a huge, wonderful Teen Titans moments of everyone together. And Donna giving that speech to everyone. That's like, we're different from them. A lot of times we go through the same stuff the Justice League does, if not more. And once a Teen Titan, always a Teen Titan. And we are together, and we're going to fight this together. And we can't just be, oh, woe is me, what I'm going to do. We have those abilities too. And we're going to be there. We're going to figure it out. We don't see them fight anything. Doesn't matter. It's great. And we get this great moment too. And now I'm spiraling. Make sure I don't miss any of your notes because I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Keep going.
But especially in that issue, what I really loved and what helped me a lot as a reader and like what I've gone through reading all of DC for the past 5 years or whatever, is there a moment when all the Teen Titans are together and then Wally shows up.
Yeah.
This is a big deal because when last time everybody, like Teen Titans, everybody saw Wally or heard about Wally was Heroes in Crisis, which is very divisive, especially for me, because Roy Harper died. I'm very upset about it still. He's back. It's cool. But because of Wally's actions, Roy Harper was dead and Wally was essentially a murderer at that moment. It was a big issue. Now he shows up and there's this big look between everybody. I'm like, oh shit. What's gonna happen? And she goes up and hugs him. She's like, I know you didn't mean to do it. And he's welcomed back in. And there was this big moment that's like we are fighting for ourselves and for the Titans that aren't here with us right now. Of course, then Roy Harper comes in and he forgives Wally. He's like, you owe me though. He's like, yeah, I owe a lot of people. But it's this great moment. Man, what a treat this was.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard for me to say everything that happened, what a fucking treat as a comic book reader.
Weren't you surprised by how like touching it was?
I did not expect this. Because even like when I was watching Comic Storian and like what I knew about Darkness Metal, I was like, okay, it seems fun, but like why? Yeah. But death metal, holy shit.
But that's the nature of the music that inspires it, right? The nature of the music that inspires it is that heavy metal has this satanic, evil, hardcore exterior and aesthetic and sound that actually masks like really inspiring and uplifting messages, right? If you listen to Iron Maiden, just on the head of it, like if a pastor from the 80s listens to it, they know it's from the devil and it has devil messages. And then whenever a metal fan listens to it, they're hearing messages about how like your trauma doesn't define you and about how you have abilities within yourself that allow you to rise above the smallness and the problems in your life, right? And that's the nature of metal, and they fucking distilled it into a comic book.
It's beautiful.
Real
quick, tremendous. Rocky asked if we listened to the album. We did.
Yeah, 100%.
I was listening to it while I read it. I had the YouTube open, which was great because you had all these great images and like lyric videos and stuff. Fantastic. I want the vinyl now. Damn it.
So I listened to it on Spotify, and I knew about the album in advance because I got into a fight with some friends of mine when this first came out. When this first came out, and it turned out that Rise Against was doing a song on it. I read an interview with Tim McElrath, the lead singer of Rise Against. It was like, we're so excited to be working with DC, and all of my friends were like, look what a sellout. Rise Against thinks they're some socially conscious band, and here they are doing promo music.
DC doesn't make that much money. What are they even trying to say?
How much money do they think Tim McElrath got for writing a song?
Probably nothing.
That's beside the point, all right? Broken Dreams, Inc., which is the Rise Against song on the album, is actually one of Rise Against's best songs since Siren Songs of the Counterculture came out, right? I love every song on that album. The ones with Maria Brink are terrific. The Rise Against songs, everything on there is really good, right? Even the stuff that has Andy Black from Black Veil Brides is good.
So Jaden brought up Superboy Prime, and I want to talk about Superboy Prime. So have you read the other Crisis?
No, I had no idea what was going on. Whenever she was having the big heart-to-heart with him when he trapped her.
So I know I've talked about the show before, back in the day with Omar, but I would love to revisit that now as like a new reader become old reader and have you read it, because I think there's a lot missed. The Superboy Prime stuff is so perfect and so moving because he is a big part of a former Crisis. I mean, he is like the part of it. His trauma, his everything he goes through, and for him to show up here and move through that and work with everybody else is crazy. It would never happen. Oh my god. When he showed up and then he helped everybody and you went through his kind of backstory and what he was going through and this whole like, oh, back on my earth I read the comic books and all this stuff, and he comes back to it. Oh my god. I wish I had the words to talk about it, but people at home are like, okay, you can't articulate anything, get over it. It was just, I was stunned. I need you to read the other Crises. They're not like super entertaining, but I think they're important for like the lore of DC. You know?
I think
I have the omnibus for Infinite Crisis. It's a big boy.
I don't think I've read. I think the only Crisis I've read is whatever the Green Lantern one was.
Oh, Blackest.
Yeah. Blackest.
Yeah, Brightest Day, Blackest Night. Yeah, you should read Infinite Crisis. Also, I want you to read about Donna dying and coming back. I mean, bummer, but it's really interesting. There's a lot of really interesting like Superboy stuff. Like, it's. And that way you'll understand, because there's a lot that happens here. It's important. Yeah. There was something important for DC Crises, but who's going to be there? One, Blue Beetle's always there. That's very important. Also, a lot of very important Lex Luthor stuff.
Okay.
And so to truly enjoy when they go into the Alfred boxes, which is fucking hilarious.
Yes.
I love that. I think you should read those. If you reread Final Crisis, you might need some alcohol, not gonna lie. That's fine. Lee and I'm drinking right now. I've got some rum and Dr. Pepper. It's my long day.
It's not water.
Hell yeah. Is it moonshine? We should have moonshine. Can we be those Kentuckians?
Peach moonshine.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Let's do that this year. I'd like that. Let's go through
Let's do it. Yeah, I've never read any of them.
Let's do it. I think the conflict between Doomsday Clock and Death Metal might have caused way more confusion than we wanted. I still haven't read Doomsday Clock.
Same.
And part of that was because it was so long in between each iteration, or each issue, that I was just putting it off. And I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to touch it. Also because it ended before Jeff Johns left.
Okay.
And so I wasn't sure, because basically when Rebirth came out, Doomsday Clock was happening. Because at the beginning, when Wally West came back, you see the smiley face thing.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, what does this all mean? Now we know Dr. Manhattan's trying to fix everything, whatever. But I was never sure if it was fully reaching Jeff Johns' vision, because I've complained a lot about DC Rebirth because I thought it was perfect, and once that kind of came to a close, I feel like we lost a lot of that hope and light and everything.
Sure.
I feel better now that I've read this because I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I was very curious. Oh, Superboy Prime turned to Ichi the Killer. Stonewall makes DC ever did a Mara collection. As somebody who actually knows what Ichi the Killer is.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I should do a thing on Near Mint Collective talking about
Takashi
Japanese cinema.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm
Harakiri is one of the best movies ever made.
I haven't seen it. I'm a huge Sion Sono fan, which can be problematic. Yeah. So
you've seen 13 Assassins though.
Suicide Girl Squad. What? Suicide Girl?
You've seen 13 Assassins?
No,
right?
I haven't.
It's like the best samurai film ever made.
Let's watch it.
Tremendous.
Let's have a day. I'll watch that, and then I need to show you one of Sion Sono's more recent films with a Yakuza base. Okay. It's great. It's really good. Is this worth reading? I opened the files last week and then immediately read Cold Buys by Fasagio and Hellblazer Volume 9. I think it is. Yes. I think it's really... I'm glad that I have read it, because I don't think I would have read it if Lee hadn't suggested it for the show. I think I would have picked up the first issue and felt a little overwhelmed by what was happening. And I am so glad I read the whole thing and the tie-in issues.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Metalverse Omni. Right.
It needs to happen. I'm going to have to buy it. I need it. Doomsday Clock is an interesting read. It's pretty much DC giving an in-universe reason for the New 52 happening. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I know you have other notes, and I want to make sure. Normally, I have a structured thing, but there's so much to talk about. So.
Sure. So there are small references to other events in the DC universe that are not overt plot ramifications, right? There are small nods, there are moments. Like one thing you've mentioned is what is it? Is it Castle Bat?
I don't know what he's called.
Something like so. Anyways, the Batman Who Laughs has a castle, and the castle is actually made out of an evil Gotham City. He has taken the physical materials that constructed Gotham City, and he's turned it into a castle that is living and breathing. And eventually,
he sacrificed Damian. He's a Batman who sacrificed Damian because, I care about Gotham more than you. I am Gotham, and so he becomes Gotham. Hilarious. This is like a D&D campaign. Anyways, continue.
So eventually this castle becomes a giant mech. It becomes a giant robot that all the heroes have to fight. And the way they beat it is Lex Luthor minimizes it and puts it in a snow globe, right? And it's a direct reference to Red Sun, right? It's a direct reference to why don't you put the whole world in a bottle, Superman. And yeah, I love that one. There are just small things throughout that are so interesting. And then there are things that like take me out of it because I don't have context for them.
Yeah.
Like, why is everyone Dr. Manhattan?
Man, I wish I could tell you why everybody Dr. Manhattan. I don't know. I know why the Flash. I don't know why the Flash is, but I have a idea of like
Yeah.
how things happen. But I love that for some reason there's a Batman somewhere that had some particles that would turn into Dr. Manhattan, and then for some reason Batman Who Laughs knew to like sort of kill him, but not completely, to have a backup body so that he would be Dr. Manhattan. I have no idea.
So like, there are things like
Comics
that
are
take me out.
so dumb. I say that being a long time. I've been on this channel for a long time. Comics are dumb. I love them. They're dumb.
So to that point, I do not and have never understood Lobo.
Oh, see, I love Lobo.
I don't get, and I'm always a little bit off put whenever Lobo pops up in a comic I'm reading, and Lobo's actually a really big part of this book. At one point,
You
Wonder
can't have
Woman
a
has an
metal thing
army
without him.
of Lobos that she calls her main men, right?
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I don't get Lobo.
I think that's fair, especially because Lobo as a character, it's not like when you understand a lot of characters, there's faults to them. There's like a personal story to them. Even
Sure.
Lex Luthor, I understand his motivation. And I wouldn't say that Lobo's a dynamic character from what I've read. I think Crush, his daughter, is different because she's real cool. But Lobo is just badass to be bad. He feels like a WWE character. You know?
He's
not
insane
a lot of
clown
depth
posse
to him.
Guy Gardner.
Yeah. So I have fun with him, but not in a way that I connect with him. Like, I'm not going to go out and buy Lobo merch because I don't connect him as a character. It's like, there's depth to these other characters. I'm like, okay, now I want to read fan fiction, that kind of depth. But like Lobo, yeah. Lobo is there to be a daddy. The best Lobo to me was Lobo from Injustice 2. See, I remember a Lobo. Oh, wait, I'm thinking about the video game. Yeah. Lobo's just there to cause havoc and be completely chaotic neutral. And I don't always identify with chaotic neutral characters that don't have extra oomph to him.
Sure.
So I get that.
So another question. I didn't immediately recognize Jonah Hex whenever I saw it. It actually took me a minute to get that it was Jonah Hex. Because Jonah Hex, for context, shows up in the middle of Batman is already resurrecting a bunch of zombies. So then when he turns and talks to another person with like a mangled face, I thought he was just talking to one of his zombie soldiers. And it took me a minute to realize that, that's Jonah Hex. I've never read a Jonah Hex book. I've never read one.
I've seen him in things. I've never read just him. But I do think it makes sense because when he does show up, normally he's alive and half his face is melted.
Sure.
But he's dead and half his face is melted. So it made it very confusing at first to realize who it was. But I was sad by the time he was gone. And I think that's just because of Harley Quinn's like random attachment to him for some reason.
Wearing his hat and everything afterwards.
Well, because she went to kiss him. She's like, did you just let me tongue? He's like, I literally don't have a cheek.
Yeah.
The tongue is just there, which felt like you could put him in Fallout. That's kind of like the situation I was thinking of. It's very silly.
What else did I have? So I know I've mentioned the art in terms of album cover and stuff a couple times, but I specifically want to talk about the style for a second. So the book really has a Jack Kirby flair to it, where the colors really pop and the lines are really stark and the faces are really emotive. But that's mixed with this thing that I associate with Capullo. That's like there is a 90s grossness to it that feels like McFarlane. And I guess that's one of the places where Capullo really came up as penciling for Spawn, right? And you feel a mix here of that classic Jack Kirby's DC era with the 90s kind of scumbag art style, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word, right? And then whenever they actually start bringing in gold era characters and silver age characters, they actually switch art styles. There's a couple of really good bits, like the one where I opened to it first. What about that? Where
Oh, so good.
Heavy Metal Wonder Woman is talking to, I guess, Silver Age or Gold Age, whatever, Wonder Woman, and the art style on the same page is actually different, and it fucking works. Right?
So good.
The art in this is so thoughtful and intentional, despite being the silliest fucking thing you've ever seen.
It's
right?
so good. If anyone wants to, I'll start a GoFundMe for me to cosplay
Heavy
Death
metal.
Metal Wonder Woman. Just kidding. I'll fund it myself. But oh man,
Yeah,
I will do anything to do that.
Yep. You can get a little toy chainsaw from Target or whatever
great.
and dress it up. Yeah.
I'll throw into my burlesque routine. It's gonna be a real hit. It would be. Perfect.
So, yeah, I love the art. I love how the story doesn't take itself seriously until it does. The story naturally figures out when it's time to make a point about like what storytelling means to the reader and stuff, and what these characters mean, even if they're in the middle of doing silly things that don't matter.
Yeah.
It marries perfectly the atmosphere of Tom King's writing, where everything is really emotional and has layers of trauma and depth and meaning to it, with something like Justice League International, where nothing means everything, everything's fun, it's episodic, and nothing matters because it's just a weekly story that's meant to be fun, right? It marries those two things perfectly and manages to transition between them in a way that feels completely realistic because the art allows itself to go so far out. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't recommend it enough.
So good. Also, before we give our ratings or anything else, I would be very sad if we did not talk about the party that happens after they win.
Yeah.
Because, for a lot of reasons, I love a big party. You can see all our superheroes there. But also because Superman's on the mic, Batman's playing guitar. I forget who else is there. If you can show it, I would love to highlight it.
It's everybody.
But yeah, Black Canary is up there. I forgot who playing the drum. I can't see, but everyone's there having a great time. Oh my god, what's Superman singing? I need to know. I want this so bad.
Yeah, the book ends on a rock show with all the heroes. Yeah,
which is so satisfying because I love that. Like, I'm a big One Piece fan, so I'm bringing in manga. Forgive me, everyone. But after every big arc, at the end is always a party, and I love that. I love D&D campaigns that are ended with a party. I think it's important. I want to feel like I've gotten something I deserve to have, and I love a party, and that was so cute. Because how often do they not get to? They don't get to have time to do that. And I've talked a lot about the big two comics and how we're so focused on the action that we don't get people time. This gave me both throughout. Yeah. I don't know how.
As packed as this is, everyone gets
little downtime.
Damian and Bruce get a father-son moment. Diana and Donna get like a big sister, little. Everyone.
Well, even Donna and
moment.
Beast Boy get a little time. You know, I can't believe we got that. Like, it's doable. I think I'm upset that I'm going to praise this as much as I'm going to because I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't. Because I'm not a big event person. But damn it if I didn't love this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because I complain a lot about big events, big group events, because I read them and the story's so smart and so cool, Hickman. But I don't get a lot of the people moment that I deserve to have. It doesn't make the big... You need the small moments to make the big moments matter. And I've said that, and I'll continue to say that. You can be as cool and big picture as you want. But if I don't have small moments with characters, when big things happen, they don't matter to me. But this gave it to me. And I loved it. I loved it. It felt fun. I felt rewarded when I was reading through it. I felt like that my heroes were rewarded. And that's so special. Even even during it.
It's so soft and touching and sincere and earnest and somehow not gritty at all, despite the premise being, what if all the DC heroes were on a Black Sabbath album cover? Despite that being the premise, there's no grittiness or grim darkness or nihilism to this book at all. It's all heart. This book is all heart and all style.
Which I can't believe. When this started coming out, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like, because again, we're coming off Rebirth, and I loved Rebirth. It's what started me into comic books. I'm a newer person. Thus, the name of the show. And when it started coming out, I was like, oh my God, what a dumb cash grab. This is stupid. I don't see, it's cool, but like, why are we having this? Because I wanted my superheroes to continue doing what they're doing in Rebirth. I'm wrong. I was wrong. I'm woman enough to admit it. This was great. I'm so glad it happened. It's crazy. This is dumb and ridiculous, and I loved every second of it. And to me, this might be my I feel like this might be my template for how big events should be, because the big two love throwing out an event every year to sell books. Sure. But a lot of times I feel like you lose the storytelling. Oh man, we had it in here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not just saying it because my girl Donna got so much spotlight, but it was good. Yeah, it's so good.
I think it's one of Snyder's best. I think it's one of the best things he's done in the DC franchise. Yeah.
And I wasn't like, okay, I read Snyder Capullo Batman, and I enjoyed it. Yeah. But like, I didn't love as much as most people did. But I'm a Bat Family person, so I'm a Detectives Comics person personally. Sure. Not saying that wasn't very good. It's excellent. Like, of course it is. But for me personally, I didn't see a lot of like me rereading it. Yeah. This, perfect. I mean, like, I loved it. And I for me personally, as like a reader and how I felt about it, I want to give it a 10 out of 10. Even though I feel like I should give like an 8. But like, I tend to rate on how I feel about it and what readability and like, just overall, like, it's like going to a movie. If you walk out and you still feel the movie happening, that was really impactful for me. That's how I feel about this. And I haven't like left a book or series feeling this nice after. If they don't animate this shit, I'm gonna riot.
Oh yeah, it needs to be
because I can't trust DC live movies. None of us can. They made a whole Batgirl movie and they were like, bye. Yeah, made a whole one. They're like, nah. But DC animated films, if they can make Injustice happen and Long Halloween, they can make this happen. Yeah. And I would love for them to.
100%.
This book have anything to do with Conjuring Kesha? No, unfortunately. But I think Kesha would enjoy it. She seems cool. All this is going to be an omnibus, right? I believe
it's fucking better.
It better, because I need it to be. Funny. I didn't like death metal. Oh, really? I'm surprised. I mean, I can see this is not for everybody. There's a lot happening here. I think it fits my taste. Yeah. My palate, it fits. I can see that it's not for everybody.
If you are really focused on plot and A to B to C, the story has to make sense and I have to understand a progression of events and the emotional stakes of events and the motivation. If that's what's important to you in a piece of media, then this won't work for you, because this book is all heart and all style. There's the writers themselves don't care about the progression of their plot. It's not why they wrote the book, right? So I can see how it wouldn't be for some people.
All right, so we have 10 minutes left. I have to leave it exactly 9:30 to go in the Nearmint Collective. It has been, which I'm pissed now because now I want to talk to you about this for another hour. But also I need you and I to get together, maybe over drinks, just to talk about alien movies. But that'll be another time.
How wild is it that we got 2 dope alien invasion movies this summer, and they were both
Well, we gotta
flawless.
talk about it. We gotta talk about it. Come over on Sunday. Let's just drink during the day.
Let me talk to Nicole. We'll do it.
We're gonna be playing The Quarry, you guys. I won't be streaming it because it's not work. I do stream video games, but it's literally only Suikoden 3 because I'm too lazy to get off my ass and stream anything else. Anyways, your rating, and then let's just chat for like 9 minutes.
Yeah. So my rating is going to be a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's going to be a 9. There are a couple of things like Lobo and a little bit of like,
oh, yeah.
Even though I've read Metal, and this is my second time reading this, where I was like, I don't remember what happened that I'm supposed to care about here. That took me out of it every once in a while, but then the style and the heart and everything and the character moments were enough to bring me back in. 9 out of 10.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that because I was leaning towards an 8 out of 10 for me thinking like objectively about this, but like personally, feeling wise, a 10 out of 10 because I think there's some problems, but only because they're trying to do so much.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they are, but it does take away from the overall feeling of the book because you're trying to. But it's what happens with events. You're trying to cover everything, and that's tough. So Lee, I have to have you on again soon so we can talk about everything. But real quick, what else have you been reading? Any recommendation? I know you've been moving, so you have a lot happening. You're into guitars. But do you have any other reads or anything recently you've been wanting to talk about? Or watches or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So I got hooked on listening to rock star biographies and autobiographies. Okay. I did Tom Petty, Ozzy Osbourne, Angus Young, Joan Jett, Jimi Hendrix. I've listened to a bunch of them. And then I got down this rabbit hole of listening to horror novels about rock stars.
Oh, because I saw you. Oh man, because it's one I read. Is it We Were Rock Stars or
We Sold Our Souls?
We Sold Our Souls.
I'm an hour into the audiobook right now.
If you don't read the rest of the books, except for Southern Book Club's Guide to Flaying Vampires, read the rest of them, please. Because I went through a thing earlier this year where I read everything. Horror Store, the Final Girls support. Yeah. My Best Friend's Exorcism. I want you to read all of it so we can talk about it.
Cool. So I'm listening to We Sold Our Souls.
I like it a lot.
Then the next one in line is one by George R.R. Martin called The Armageddon Rag, and it's some kind of horror story about a metal band or something.
Yeah.
So I'm hooked on that like genre right now.
Okay.
So that's what I've been listening to that while doing my new hobby, which you mentioned, which was for the last 6 months I've almost stopped playing video games entirely. Yeah. And I've gotten really into buying broke down guitars at pawn shops and rebuilding them.
I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, behind me, I won't talk about it for too long. I got a busted BC Rich Warlock. I got it for like $80 at a pawn shop in town. Yeah. It didn't work. It's got original pickups. It's got original machine heads, tuning heads, all of which are stamped with the original BC Rich. It's from '89, which is back when they still made a good guitar. But the electronics were all hosed. If you plugged it into an amplifier, nothing would come out. So I got it for like $80. Bought $40 in electronics, switches, tone capacitor, stuff like that. And after about an hour on the workbench, this fucking thing plays like it cost me $1,500.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, BC Rich Warlock, it's one of the most iconic heavy metal guitars. It's a working class guitar, so it's not like a Fender that's like $3,000. It's something that a normal person can afford. And as recently, they're seeing a little bit of a resurgence right now because Munson plays one
my man,
on Stranger Things.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough about that nerdistry.
I love it. Also, I know that I don't know when your podcast is picking up, but I would love for you to talk about it, only because I have been sharing it with people too, because we've been a big cryptid talk with friends, and I love listening to you. I love listening to Loki. I was talking to Joe, because Joe and I got to meet a couple weeks ago, because Buzz.
Yeah.
how I could listen to you literally talk about anything. Seriously. And so many times it'll be me on this show or Fangirls Assemble, and we'll start talking about a book. I'm like, damn it, I wish we had Lee here. Because I'll read a book like, if I just wish you were here to give me your thoughts, because I could listen to you literally talk. You could talk to me about like the Fazoli's market. That's not going to make sense to anybody else who's not from here. Is a chain food. About how that works, I'd be like, oh, tell me about it. So I'd love for you to plug your awesome podcast. Because I was telling somebody about it recently. The Appalachian Voices one was really good.
Thank you. So we're on a little bit of hiatus right now. We've got a couple getting ready to come out because we're waiting until we have transcripts done.
Yeah.
And the transcripts are done by one of Loki's partners for free. We don't pay for them because we don't bring any revenue. So luckily, Cryptids and Critters.
I'll type it in too.
The podcast, you can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's me and a friend of mine named Loki, and what we do is we talk about urban legends and myths from pop cultural, anthropological, and historical perspectives. So it's less about telling you about Bigfoot sightings and arguing over whether or not Bigfoot is real, and more about what Bigfoot means to people and why people believe in Bigfoot. And I connect a lot of it to ongoing conspiracy theories in our modern world. For instance, my big argument, we're getting ready to record a piece on UFOs and U.S. national security, which I've written about professionally before. And one of my big arguments is that there is not a huge leap between the government is hiding aliens to the government is trying to kill me, or there are evil forces within the government that are keeping me down. I live for your
Twitter about the Bigfoot to QAnon pipeline.
Why are all Bigfoot stories sexual? This is the thing we get into on the podcast.
I mean, as a monster lover, I don't know what to tell you. But if you guys don't call me in for some Japanese folklore, I'll be upset.
Yeah, so we're going to bring in a couple of guests really soon. I want to do a panel on queerness and cryptids. Like how many
I know a lot of queer people who love non-binary people fucking love
or
them
call
off, man.
themselves cryptids or call themselves fae, and why there's that cultural affection. We're going to do one on that. We need to do one on Japanese folklore because it's something Loki and I don't know about.
I would love to tell you about all of them. And I'll show you some cute movies so you can learn about all of them.
Yeah, we need to have you on. We're planning a couple in the future that'll have guests. We're going to do one on Baba Yaga that's going to have a guest and a couple others. So,
yeah. I love it.
Thank you for letting me plug it, by the way.
Of course. We were listening to you in the car, and both Ellie and I are like, oh my God. I just love listening to you talk.
Thank you.
I really do. I need to schedule a date over at your house where you and Elliot shoot bow, and then your wife and I read true crime novels on the deck.
So good whenever we shot last time. I think that was like his second time, and he did so good, like right off the bat.
I'd like to do that soon because it'd be fun. And I want to see your puppies.
Yeah, come over. I've got all the space in the world to do archery in the backyard now.
Yeah. All right, I've got 1 minute. Real quick, everyone, if you're bored or not, I've had a little bit of a rum and coke in me. I will be doing a live show on our side channel, Near Met Collective. So Near Met Condition, for everybody here, even though it originally started as a like multi-fandom thing, it has become just comics with Omar. But originally there was panels and everything else. Near Met Collective is where the non-comic stuff goes. It's been a little sparse as far as other content, but we do keep up our monthly live, just talking the shit about non-comic stuff. So if you hear about video games, movies, books, TV shows, whatever, we're doing a live show and literally now, so I gotta go. But thank you again for Lee for showing up. Lee will be back here again soon when we talk about Wiccan Divine Deluxe Volume 2.
Yes.
I will be back here on Tuesday for the regular time for All New Reader talking about Supergirl, the new one by Tom King. I forget the byline. So if you want to come hang out, you can. It's just me and Jess, and maybe Kristen. So you can use my DC Universe. So if you want to hang out, Jess will be excited. So check us out there. Check out Luckily Cryptids and Critters. And have a good night, everybody. Stay minty. Love you.